Okay. I am live. I love doing like multiple screens. It is very trippy to watch myself. But good Friday afternoon. I hope you guys are having a great day. And somebody in my group had asked me a really great question about how do I get over when someone close to me hurts my feelings, right? This is something that happens to all of us, where we get our feelings hurt, or somebody says something very hurtful, we take it very personally, and we feel really upset. And those are all very normal things to have. But wouldn't it be wonderful if we could process all of those feelings and just move on, right? How amazing would that be if we didn't let that kind of behavior from somebody else kind of really put a damper on things for days, weeks, months? I used to do that. I'm an extremely sensitive person, not as much anymore, but I was an extremely sensitive person. I would take everything really, really personally. And even if someone said slightly like offhand, like I would internalize it and I would make it all about me, and I would like magnify it, and it would just like play around in my head for days and days and days. And I would like keep playing it over and dissecting it, trying to look at it, this way and that way. And I'll be like wondering what they really meant and what does that mean about me. So anyway, but now I have a great process on how to move past it so that we can just get on with our life. Wouldn't it be amazing if we stopped letting how others treated us bother us so much? We all are very scared of how people look at us and how people judge us. And most of us are people pleasers. It's not very often I come across someone who doesn't care about what other people think. When I do come across that type of person, I'm in complete admiration for them. It's not that they are callous or aggressive or anything like that. They are so confident with who they are that they don't need others to like them. I'm not like that. I still, to this day, I'm a big people pleaser, but I don't let it control my life as much as I used to anymore. I'm a recovering people pleaser. All right. So if you are watching me live, go ahead and give me a hello. My hair needs washing so bad. Go ahead and give me a hello on this beautiful Friday. And if you're watching it on replay, go ahead and shout and comment in the box replay. I'm all about interaction. I love, love, love interaction, especially in my group. And I want to hear from you. That's why I do what I do, because I love people. And I want to hear from you, the people. All right. So this is my step-by-step process. So if somebody close to you has hurt you, and I made some notes to make sure I didn't miss any points. If somebody close to you has hurt you, first of all, acknowledge what you are feeling, right? I don't want you to think that you're too sensitive, and maybe you are, that you're too sensitive and you shouldn't be feeling this way. Do not question your emotions and your feelings. Your emotions and your feelings are merely a compass to let you know that something needs to be worked on. That's all it is. If someone's hurt your feelings, that basically is your internal compass to say, hey, something is out of alignment here. Something's not right. And you need to examine it, look at it, work on it, and move on, right? That's all it means. So if that means you're feeling hurt or angry or disappointed, or the feelings of how could she say that to me? How could she do that to me? You're feeling the rage, right? The guilt, the regret, the disappointment, whatever it is. Just be in those feelings. It's okay to have all of these feelings, okay? So never ever dismiss your feelings or your emotions. They are there for a reason. They are an emotional compass. Never sweep them under the rug or ignore them, okay? So after you've felt all the feelings, at that point, you're feeling like a victim, right? And if you're just joining me live, I'm talking about what do you do when someone close to you hurts you? How do you move past it? Hey, Monica. So first of all, acknowledge your feelings. That is so important. But second of all, recognize that you cannot stay in that spot forever, because when you start to stay in that spot forever, that means that you are playing the victim at this point, right? And when you are, playing the role of the victim, that means that you don't have any control over what's happening to you. And you don't have any control over how you are feeling. And that is not true, because you are in complete control of how you feel. Even if you think you don't, like, you absolutely can become the master of your emotions instead of your emotions being the master of you. So I let myself have all the feelings, right? I let myself feel hurt. I let myself feel angry. I let the tears come if somebody's hurt me. because it's really important to process all that. And then I decide that now I choose to no longer feel that way. Like I've made the decision, I will do whatever is necessary to move past feeling that way. Like I just make a decision because I no longer want to feel this angry and hurt and disappointed and miserable. And that is when I stop being the victim and I start becoming more in control. All right. So I did make notes for you guys because I didn't want to miss. Like I really closed my eyes and I went through the last few times that I've been hurt. Like I thought about what did I do to get over it and process the feelings in a successful way. And then this is the hard part for a lot of people. Start to acknowledge the fact that you feel this way because you allowed that person to make you feel this way. You have given this person permission to basically do the things that they have done to you, right? So let me give you an example. In my last corporate job, I think I've shared this example with very many of you. Before I walked away, hey, Lessa, hey. Before I walked away from my corporate career in America, what happened to me was it was a performance review. That was the time of the year. And I thought I was doing great. And my manager called me in and she basically said, like, you suck. You need to do more. You're not doing everything that you can. We're not seeing any, like, you're not like very productive. You're not contributing to the improvement of the team, la, la, la. Like it was a bombshell, right? And I was really, really hurt and upset. And I went home crying in tears that day, spoke to my husband about it. And I was like, how can they do that to me? I can't believe this came out of the blue. They made me feel like I've given so much to this company. Like I was feeling really hurt and betrayed, right? So, and I was feeling that way. And I have to take responsibility for what happened. I gave them permission to be treated that way, right? And what do I mean by that? And another reason is the only reason we feel upset about people hurting us is that to some extent we give people permission to treat us like trash. We give them subconsciously, I'm not saying you do this consciously, we do this subconsciously without knowing, without it being in our awareness or realm. We don't feel good enough. We don't feel like we are worthy of the things that we want, right? So we allow others to treat us like crap initially. I don't know whether I'm making myself clear, but another instant is that I allowed somebody to say things to me to make me feel like a bad mother. And I was really hurt and upset. And I remember crying on the phone to another friend, telling her all the ways this person had hurt me. And I let this person talk to me like that. Like I couldn't stand up in that moment and say, hey, you don't get to talk to me that way. And the reason I let these people talk to me that way is because a small or a big part of me believed those things they were telling me, right? This person that was telling me that passively, she was telling me that I'm not fit to be a mother. And one of the worst fears that I always have is that I am not a good enough mother. Like, I think that there is a small part of us feel that way when we become a parent. We have this innate fear in us that we somehow won't live up to what it means to be a great parent. And that fear is always inside of us. And so when this person told me in a passive aggressive way that like how, like you bring your children up this way, like you do this with your kids, is essentially what she told me. And I let that really, really get to me because she was stating one of my worst fears. And I was like, holy crap, I thought that was some deep, dark secret that I had stuffed down deep inside. And for somebody to call me out on that, it scared the crap out of me because I thought that must be true, right? So you're giving weight to the worst fears that you have, those worst feelings that you have about yourself. They live inside of you. That's the dark part of you. And so you really get hurt when somebody close to you that you respect and you trust and you look up to calls you out on it. And it's like, wait a minute, like you're not allowed to say that to me. I'm the only one who's allowed to believe those things about me, right? No. When you subconsciously, whether you're aware of it or not, when you believe the worst things about yourself, I promise you somebody will call you out on it at some point because it is the universe's way of trying to teach you to heal that part of yourself, to fill that hole inside of you so you can move on, so that those things never happen to you again. So I had to do a lot of work to heal this part of me that felt like I was failing as a mother, right? Because I'm so focused on growing my business. And, technically I work from home. So anytime I say no to a field trip, or my kids want to play when they are at home, and I turn on the TV and I let them watch TV, right? Instead of like getting on the ground with them and doing crafts or whatever. I am not one of those mothers. I do not get down on my hands and knees and color with them or make crafts with them. And I had to make peace with that, because in my mind, that was what was a great parent, right? That's what was a great mother. And I wasn't doing those things. So in my mind, one of my worst fears was, because I don't do those things, I am not a good mother, right? And when this person told me in not so nice words and made me feel like crap for something I'd done, I went to that worst part of myself. And I let myself feel like, oh my God, even though she didn't come out and directly say you're a bad parent, that's what I thought she was implying. And I went to the worst place possible. So anytime someone hurts us, the words that they say and the things that we hear are completely different. They are completely different. Okay. Can I get a hallelujah if that resonates with you? This happens all the time, even with arguments with our spouses. What your spouse says is one thing, and what you hear is another thing, right? Like if a neutral, unbiased person was watching you have this argument with your spouse, they would be, your spouse would be saying one thing and you would be hearing another thing. Yes, Monica, hallelujah. And that's what happens, right? Because when somebody's speaking something or saying something, you go internally into your mind and you're like, oh my God, because they're saying this, it must mean this, 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 and this. And it's your own perception of how you see yourself that taints that entire scenario. It is not the truth of what's happening, but that's where your mind goes, because we always tend to believe the worst things about ourselves. All right. So when somebody hurts you, this is where you need to go. You need to ask yourself, what within me has attracted me to feel this way? What within me makes me feel hurt and angry and rejected right now, right? Because you are feeling angry and you're feeling hurt and you're feeling bruised. Yes, Salmia. Yes, I like the double high five. And ask yourself, am I hearing the truth of what this person said, or am I hearing a perception of the truth? Because you're putting a filter on what they have said based on your world experiences and on your worst fears. Hey, Smith, it's great to see you as well. And so that is what it, like, being hurt is all about. That's the crux of it, is that, one, you've given this person permission to treat you this way. And if that's the truth, like if they didn't have any reason to treat you this way, and that happens sometimes, right? Like you haven't, like, should you be giving this person, so much room in your life? If they are constantly hurting you, and I've had friendships like that where people have constantly let me down and hurt me, you have to first of all heal what's going on. So I had one friend that would constantly make dates for us to like go out with our kids or whatever. And she would always like cancel at the last minute, right? And I would feel so hurt. I'll be like, oh my gosh, I love spending time with this girl. She keeps letting me down. Like, what's wrong with me? And there's nothing wrong with me. First of all, like I kept giving her permission to treat me that way. Like every time she did it, by telling, I would say, oh, it's okay another time, right? And then so she thought it was okay for her to keep treating me that way. And I kept giving her permission to treat me that way. So ask yourself, what situation do I fall under? Is it a one-off thing where this person has always treated me with respect and trusted me, and they've earned my trust? And this is like a one-off thing, which means, like maybe you can forgive and move on. But if this is a recurring thing where this person keeps hurting you, then ask yourself, is this person that I want to keep around in my life, right? What is the value that they are providing me in my life? And if the situation will allow it, can you not have them in your life? That sounds maybe really harsh, but not every person needs to be around in your life forever. People come and go into your life, but if it's a spouse that's doing it, then you need to draw energetic boundaries. You need to have difficult conversations with your spouse and how you want to be treated and how you expect to be treated. You can't expect your spouse to change and treat you a different way if you don't treat yourself any differently, right? If you keep allowing your spouse to do the same things that keep hurting you, then that just means you're giving them permission to do that. All right. So I've gone off topic, but first, you feel the pain and the hurt, right? And you allow yourself to have all of these feelings. Number two, you start to acknowledge the fact that you've actually given permission to the people that are hurting you to hurt you, and then assess whether this is a one-off thing or assess whether this is a continuous thing that keeps happening. Is this a pattern that keeps happening? And then three, ask yourself, what within me has attracted this? And it's usually your own insecurities and your fear that cause these things to be attracted into your life, right? It's what I said about you wear a filter and you see the world in a certain way because of the filter you wear. And so whatever someone says, you don't hear the truth of what they're saying. All you choose to hear is the perception of the truth with they say one thing, but you hear something else. And so ask yourself, what within me has attracted this? What in me is a mirror reflection of what's going on? Usually your outside world is a mirror reflection of what's going on internally. So what in me is mirroring this and causing this to happen, right? That's a great question to journal on if somebody's hurt you. And then you have to start the process of forgiving yourself and forgiving the other person. And forgiveness is tough. It's a tough exercise, and it's a tough pill to swallow. But forgiveness, I always say this, it's not about letting the other person off the hook, it's letting yourself off the hook. Because when you forgive and you really release what's happened, it's like a huge weight that's been lifted off your shoulders. And I had this great example and a great story and a metaphor is that two monks are walking through a beautiful forest, right? And they can hear a river like quite in the distance, and it seems to be, and they keep walking, and the sound keeps getting closer and closer to them. And as they approach the river and they see the river, on the banks of the river, they see this woman just sobbing. And the monks approach and they ask her, hey, what's wrong? Why are you sobbing, right? And she says, I want to cross the river, but I don't know how to do it safely. And the monks have this, one of the things that they have this pact is that they cannot touch a woman, right? And that's one of their beliefs, is that you cannot touch a woman because of the vows that they have taken. And so there's one monk, the older monk lifts the woman, helps her cross the river and crosses back. And then the two monks continue walking, on their path and their journey. And the younger monk is like seething with anger. He's like, how could you touch that woman? How could you carry her across the river? It goes against everything we believe in. Like, he's basically like giving him, the lowdown on how could you do this. And the older monk says, I have left her. I have left her a long time ago. Why are you still carrying her with you? Right? He says, I left her a long time ago. Why are you still carrying her with you? And I thought that was such a great story, because a lot of times that's what happens, right? When somebody hurts us, we stew in it over and over and over. And we think by not forgiving them that, we're hurting them just as much as they hurt us. But what's really happening is that you carry them throughout the days and the weeks and the months with you. You're not actually releasing them. They've already moved on, right? From whatever pain they've caused you, they've already moved on. They're not thinking about you anymore. But when you don't forgive, what you're doing is carrying that person with you. You're carrying the weight of that person with you at all times. So forgiveness is really about you feeling lighter and freer to carry on with your life. Oh, Smith, I love the love. Thank you. That's really what forgiveness is about, right? If you're watching me on Instagram, give me some hearts or likes if you love that. All right, so that is really what forgiveness is. And I do a lot of journaling. And, one of the ways that I forgive is that I write a letter to myself for anything that I need to forgive myself on, because any situation that we have a part to play in, we usually need to forgive ourselves, because sometimes we blame ourselves so much whenever we feel like something's wrong has happened. Or if we feel like a conversation didn't go well and a friend is blaming us for something, we blame ourselves too. You're like, oh, how could I have said that? I must have really hurt her in order for her to say that to me. Or she must have, felt like, why did she lash out that way? Did I do something wrong for her to react that way? We internalize a lot. We feel a lot of guilt and regret sometimes when it comes to people hurting us. And so write yourself a letter and let yourself off the hook, because we can't expect to be perfect. As much as we would love to be perfect human beings, we are imperfectly perfect. And so you need to let yourself off the hook. So first, write yourself a letter to forgive yourself, even if that means, maybe you haven't figured out what your life purpose is. I know, Smitha, you struggle with that a lot. And maybe you feel really angry at yourself for not knowing what it is that your life purpose is. And, you need to forgive yourself for that. Like, you need to give yourself space and time to figure that out. And so you need to write a forgiveness letter to yourself and to that other person who's hurt you. That is the harder part, is that you need to, empathy is one of the biggest things that I have. I have a lot of empathy for people. Even if someone's really hurt me, I really try to see the situation from their point of view, which is liberating in a way, because then it makes them more human as well. The reason my manager was so harsh on me was because I can only imagine the amount of pressure that she was carrying in leading her own team, because she was a young mother just like I was, with 2 young children at the time, and she was a new manager that had stepped into a role. So when she was giving me this really harsh feedback, she probably thought she was doing me a favor, and she could see the potential in me, but she was probably frustrated by the fact that I wasn't doing all that I was capable of. And so she was probably coming from a place of love, but that's the only way she knew how to manage at that time, because she was a new manager, right? So I forgive her for the way she treated me, and I forgive myself for not being the best employee at the time. And so write a letter to yourself, and also write a forgiveness letter, and not, maybe part of the forgiveness letter is think about reasons of why they might have treated you that way, right? Looking at something from another person's point of view is huge, because then that makes them more human, and you're level on the playing field. Instead of trying to attack them, you come from a place of love. And then finally, I've written rinse and repeat, because this is not a one-time thing. Every time I come across the person who made me feel less than as a parent, the same feelings come up, right? But this is the but. I drove past their house the other day, and those emotions did not come up. And that's when I was like, hallelujah. Like, I think I finally moved on from what happened. Because as much as I try to forgive this person, every time I would see them or drive past them or be in the vicinity of them, or see any of their family members, the same yucky emotions would come up about how crappy I felt at that time. And I would have to do the work of forgiving myself all over again and telling myself that I'm an amazing mother. Like, replace it with an affirmation, right? Whatever your worst fear is and your worst story is about yourself, you have to write yourself a new story. And that usually comes out in the form of, after you've written your story, after you've forgiven yourself, ask yourself, what would I believe instead? What would I choose to believe instead? How do I want to feel instead? And I want to feel like I'm the most amazing mother there is, right? So the other day, I was going past this person's house, and I did not have any of those yucky feelings come up. I had a smile on my face. I saw one of their family members, and I still smiled on their face, and I kept driving. And I was like, yes, I have moved on. Hallelujah. So yeah, you do have to rinse and repeat until those yucky feelings finally subside. And if somebody very close to you has hurt you, like maybe your mother, your father, your brother, a family member, it's especially important that you do the work of forgiveness, because you can't. It's not as easy to cut these people out of your life. But at some point, you have to also stand up for yourself, right? It's not only building your own self-love for who you are and starting to believe how amazing you are, but it's also knowing that you'll no longer put up with that sort of crap. Like, it is an energetic boundary. It's a mental boundary that you have to build up. It's a spiritual boundary that you have to build up, that you are no longer available for these type of situations. And I know lots of people that I used to live with that was always drawn into drama, right? They loved drama. And I allowed myself to be pulled into this drama, because at that time I felt that's what it made me feel included, made me feel part of something that was going on, which is so silly now if I think about it. But if you find yourself in a lot of drama, like all the time, maybe among your family or your friend circle, like ask yourself, what do I get out of having all this drama in my life? Like you are getting something out of it, I promise you. Otherwise, you wouldn't tolerate it. And you might come up with the excuse of, well, this is family, like I need to be involved, or this is like my closest friends. I'm always the, like the referee that has to kind of like, the non-biased person that has to keep the peace or whatever. You might be the peacekeeper, but know that you are drawing this toxic energy in by being amongst all this drama. So if you tell yourself like, I don't like drama, but you find yourself in drama all the time, like what you're saying and what's actually happening are very two different things, and that just know that's out of alignment. So if you're always caught up in like toxicity and drama, just know that it's happening because you allow it to happen. So if you're sick and tired of it happening, ask yourself, why do I attract this all the time? What pleasure do I get out of it? Like, what do I actually benefit out of it? It might be attention. It might be that you feel important. It might be that you have a clear role to play in this relationship, right? It might be that you like playing the victim. Just get honest with yourself. Like, stop lying and saying, oh my gosh, like all this drama just finds me, but I have no idea like how to stay away from the drama. I'm sorry to be harsh, but that's my job as a coach, is like you are allowing the drama to happen and to come to you. You are attracting it because of your energy. And so if hey Aisha, oh, I'm so glad you're loving this, you're loving all of it that you're sharing with us. Oh yay, I love it when my message resonates with you guys. Great, Smith, I'm glad the tip is working. A very powerful tip. I don't even know what tip it was. If you can retype that, I would love it, so that I can share that with everyone else, because I like the stuff just comes out of me and I speak really fast. So if anything that's resonating with you that stands out, or it was like an aha moment, like type it out in the comments box, okay? Because I bet you I can reuse that and like leverage it to help somebody else. So that is my process for getting over something that's hurt me, or getting over someone that's really deeply hurt me. And it's really helped me in the recent past. And I really don't have that much. Actually, I rephrase that. I don't have any more drama in my life. I really, really don't. I am trying really hard to remember when was the last time I had drama in my life. And it was quite a few months ago. I'm not yes, Aisha. So the thing that resonated with you is that I'm not available for this. I'm amazing in every way. Yes, those affirmations. Those affirmations are so important. And one of the things that I had to keep saying to myself was that I'm a good mother. I'm like, and always, say it in a positive way, is that I'm an amazing mother. I'm always there for my children in every way, right? Like that's what I needed to believe in. Because one of my worst fears is that I'm not a good enough mom, because I'm trying to juggle it all, right? Like to grow a business and to be at home with my kids. And I feel like maybe I don't get it right all the time. And that I am sometimes really distracted by my business, and I don't always give my children the first attention that they need. But that's who I am. I am very driven. I'm very passionate about what I do. And my business is one of my children. And not for egotistical reasons. It really is, because it lights me up from the inside. And I always have to do what lights me up, because then I show up as a better mother when I do something that's important to me, right? And anyway, that's all from me. I hope this process helps you really release any hurt that you've been holding on to. And just know that the hurtful things that happen, they really are the universe's way of bringing you lessons. The universe is a funny way of working for us, but the universe is always working for us. And any hurt that comes up, it's because there is a monumental lesson that needs to be learned. So if drama keeps showing up in your life, it's because you haven't learned the lesson yet. You haven't learned, what is the drama bringing me? What pleasure am I getting out of it? What benefits am I getting out of the drama? And if you really don't want the drama, then what do I need to learn in order for that drama to stop? Like, who do I need to forgive? What do I need to stop doing for the drama to stop? What do I need to start doing for the drama to stop? And then the drama will stop. If you're really intentional about it and put your intentions out there and tell the universe, I'm no longer available for this drama, and do the work that needs to be done, then you've learned the lesson. You'll find that it's no longer happening, right? Oh, it's 3:02. I always I'm so fired up right around 2:30 in the afternoon, and then I have to cut it short so that I can go get my son from school. But I wish you guys a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I hope this was helpful to you. I know it was helpful to you because you guys have given me some great comments. And I have something really exciting coming up starting Sunday. So if you really love my lives, like I think there is a way you can turn on notifications so that whenever I go live, like you'll get notified on your phone and your computer that I am going live. All right. So make sure you have the notification turned on in the Facebook group Becoming You. So that way, whenever you're scrolling through your phone and I go live, you go, ping, and Lisa's live, like, yay. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I've got something wonderful coming up for you guys. So make sure you turn on the notifications, and I'm super excited about it. All right, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and bye, guys. Take care. It's going to take me a while to turn off all of these screens that I have going. So take care.